Welcome to Season 2 of Together at GRCC, where we take a little time to get to know the people behind the work that makes this place run. Every student arrives on campus with potential, but not every student arrives with the same opportunities, the same support, or the same path forward. And the work of higher education isn't just helping students succeed, it's making sure more of them actually have the chance to. Today's guest has spent his career in that space, mentoring students, building programs, and working to close the gaps that too often go unnoticed. From counseling and advising to leading large-scale student success efforts, his work has always centered on helping students find their footing and move forward. And today, we're talking to D'Wayne Jenkins. Hi, D'Wayne.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Welcome to Together at GRCC.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
And welcome to GRCC in general. How long have you been here for?
This is month number 9.
Month number 9.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
So when people hear Dean of Students, what automatically comes to their mind, and what does it actually mean to you?
I think when people hear it, they probably think of it from a punitive standpoint, but it is farther from that. For me, it is a hodgepodge of functionality, hodgepodge of understanding the university, understanding students, understanding upper administration as well, and being a liaison for both entities.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's great to hear. So you kind of see yourself in the middle of
Correct.
Trying to negotiate between.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's great. So what's something about your role that people at GRCC might not realize?
Something about my role. I think the magnitude of student interaction and the magnitude of helping students through complex problems, being a voice and being an advocate for students. Get a lot of student emails from a variety of different rationales and different reasons, and being able to pinpoint them in the right direction. That is not something that I thought would be at the forefront. I knew it was Dean of Students, but I just never thought I would have to deal with the complex issues of the student experience as much as I do. But also just thinking about how it's a privilege to kind of be in a position to be able to help students in those types of situations overall. So it's been the Dean of Students role is a very encompassing role of a lot of different things on campus, being a communicator, being a problem solver, understanding the political aspect of knowing how to connect dots at the university, at the institution level.
Yeah.
Being a knower, really big being a knower of things. You have to know a lot of things, a lot of different departments, different entities on campus, different function and what they provide. So to be able to better support not only the students, but my staff as well.
Okay. Yeah, what I found is it's not about almost knowing everything. It's about who we know to ask to, where do I go to find this information?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've definitely found that you have to have some level of knowledge in every aspect of the institution.
Yeah. So structurally within the organization, where do you sit and what departments sit underneath you?
Yes. So structurally, I am in the Student Affairs Department. I report to the Associate Provost of Student Affairs. Within my particular Dean of Students unit, I provide oversight for the Center for Student Life and Leadership, the Woodrick Center for Inclusion and Multicultural Affairs, Retention Services, and High School Partnerships.
Okay. So a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, finding that middle ground where student success lives, making those connections for students is really
Absolutely.
Amazing work. Was there a moment in your life when you realized that you wanted to work in this area?
Dean of Students or higher education?
Just higher education, and you're working in a very particular area.
Yeah.
So is there something that pushed you in that direction?
This is a short, I can give you the long version of how this all transpired.
Let's hear it.
So I'll go back to my undergraduate time. So I'm originally from Southern Illinois, 2-time degree holder from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. And my original goal was to go to medical school.
Okay.
My undergraduate degree is in biology, minor in chemistry. I was all for that. But simultaneously, what was happening, I started I had one of my best friends worked on campus, and they worked in an alternative admissions program where they did mentoring and tutoring. And I would just go visit my friend every day in between classes. And one day her boss said, why are you always here? And I said, I'm just in between classes. And so he then further continued to ask me more questions, what my grades are, have I taken a certain course? Or then I started to tutor. He asked me, did I want to tutor for a particular subject? And a college student, I was a broke college student, so sure, I'll do whatever. Well, I won't do whatever for money, but this was right on par. And so I started that process of tutoring. Then I moved over to being a mentor the following year. And that's where it kind of all started to click and I started to get this sense of fulfillment that I had never really felt before, helping freshman students navigate the college life. It was good for me because it was something that I never had. And so I thought it was to be able to get paid to do something like that was pretty cool at the time.
Yeah.
Then it just started transpiring and started to grow from there. I attempted to go to grad school for public health. That didn't work out as much as I thought it was going to work out. And then I was stuck with the fork in the road of trying to figure out where my life was going. I still wanted to go to med school, but that wasn't going how I wanted it to go. But at the same time, while I was mentoring, a lot of doors were opening from my being a mentor. So I was able to get graduate assistantships, things like that. And so I was just steadily building my career in higher education unknowingly, while simultaneously trying to go another route. It really just came down to the decision of this is, I won't say easier, but the doors were more open and I felt the level of fulfillment doing more work like this.
Well, and you're taking the path that's in front of you.
Correct.
And the best opportunity that's available at the time. And it sounds like helping people really drove you forward. And the fields are different, but they're both helping fields.
And for me, it was the helping component, but also it helped me define what kind of help I wanted to provide and what population for who I wanted to provide service for. My original goal was to go to school and be a pediatrician, so I always knew I wanted to work with the youth.
Okay.
But as time progressed and I started working more and more with college students, it was a way better fit. Not only did I enjoy it, but there was some level of I was actually good at it as well. And so the light bulb went off like, okay, do people get paid? Do people do this for a living? Let me look into it. Yeah. And so it kind of transpired. I ended up graduating with my master's degree while I was down there. And then I took a position. My first professional position was I was working at Eastern Illinois University. I was a counselor advisor for their TRIO student support service program. Okay. And so that's why I really started to really fall in love with the field of higher education, with the field of kind of supporting and serving students and helping them find a way to navigate the college experience. And particularly is because it was something I never had during my undergraduate career. And so I felt it was a obligation, but also a calling to kind of help those who had similar experiences to myself in my undergraduate career, but also just being able to help elevate those students who come seek out that guidance and advice.
Have you been in higher education long enough where people call back to you and just give you a lot of appreciation?
Absolutely. This is probably my 22nd year overall in higher education, I guess including grad school. I have mentees from as early as year one who I still talk to.
That's amazing.
I have mentees who've turned into some of my best friends because I started relatively young in our ages. Yeah. I think I started in my first professional career at 25 and some of my students were like 22. And so they go from being, they go from asking for advice on college and things like that. And then, as they graduate and go into the professional world, they're still calling. There is not one place I've worked where there's not at least one person who I'm still very much in contact with, even from a mentee level, but also a friendship level, a professional level in all aspects.
That's amazing. And I personally appreciate that you elevate whatever community you're in. That's amazing.
Yeah. I strongly believe in just trying to, wherever I go, be impactful. Do whatever is necessary, but also leaving the place in a better position than I found it.
Yeah. Community college students often have a lot going on outside the classroom. How does that shape how you think about student success here?
I think that's a huge component of understanding student success. Understanding that all the students come with a particular level of background, particular level of experiences, and that makes them who they are. But what we sometimes tend to not think about is that that's still, while they're here, life is still happening. And oftentimes, life impacts how we perform in the classroom, and understanding that you can't separate the two from the student experience. They are existing simultaneously here at GRCC and simultaneously in the world. So things that happen within the world will almost directly impact how they perform in class.
Yeah.
And so how they show up. And so being sensitive to that, being understanding of that, also understanding that when they do whatever situations they present to me, understanding that life is a variable, but that I must take into consideration while I'm helping guide them.
Yeah. Something I just thought about is, you're learning in the classroom, but what you do definitely has learning components. And one of the things I just wondered your perspective on this, because I had trouble when I went here, was asking for help.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how does asking for help play a part in teaching people this, but also, when I was younger, your ego has a little bit harder to break through.
I think, asking for help is for some, it can be very difficult. Encountering students sometimes is, in my thought process, and even thinking of over the course of my career, I honestly don't think students have an issue asking for help.
Okay.
I think students have an issue with the timing of when they ask for help.
Oh, yeah.
I think is their level of timing for asking for assistance sometimes tends to be off. I think today's students have an understanding of how to navigate, how to find things. But I think the timing of when they ask tends to be more of an issue than actually asking for help. Because I've had students come ask me for help the day before graduation.
Yeah.
The day before graduation. I've met students the day before graduation, and they're like, "So what do I do?" Well, you're graduating tomorrow. Like this is my first time ever seeing you.
Yeah.
And so these things kind of happen. So it's more like the timing of it. I think we do a good job of putting out information, but we live in a world where students and where there's constant information flowing 24/7. And so they know where the help lies. Is more so, what is the timing of when should I ask versus do I know who to ask? And they know that they have professors. They've encountered people that they know they can at least ask one question to, but sometimes that timing is off.
Yeah.
But that's more of I take more of that onus not on the student and put that onus on us as an institution. How do we better lay out a path that explains to them when they should ask for help?
Yeah, that is a really good point. And I do, if I'm talking to a student, particularly about tutoring and math, I'll say, you can't go at the end of the semester. To be able to get all of the full benefits, you have to know yourself well enough from the beginning of the class and step into the tutoring center from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you see that kind of in your world as well?
Yes, and I think the quicker that someone can identify that they need help, they reach out, the better. And sometimes we have to be able to ask for help even before it becomes an emergency. And I think too many times we get hit with the critical. Again, it's the timing of it. You knew you needed help, but you waited till it came.
Yeah, like it wasn't magically going to happen.
Yeah, it's not a gradual. I mean, it's not you didn't just start flunking day one or doing bad in the class day one. It's a gradual process, but we need to be able to convey that they can ask for help immediately versus waiting till it hits a critical, where they need a critical response and they want us to work magic. And again, I would not put that onus on the students. I think we have to do a better job of explaining that you don't have to wait for help. You can ask for help even for the smallest things.
Yeah.
And usually when I do,
that reframes it for me. Even.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and even for me, when I I've worked at other institutions and I've worked with orientation, I've always tried to do my best to let students know you can literally ask me for anything at any given time. My job is to help you. Your job is to go to school. You don't have to think as much. Just email me. No question is too small for us to handle. That is literally why I get paid.
Yeah.
That is literally why you pay me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always offer myself, like, never be afraid to ask me for help. Not saying that I have the answers, but it's a starting point. If you don't feel comfortable asking anybody, you can feel comfortable asking me, because this is what we do. And my goal is to make sure that your goals are complete.
So if somebody doesn't work in your department, what would you say, like, the number one thing is they could do to help you?
Just be an advocate. I think the number one thing they can do is understand the work that we do and the why of what we do. I think that's the basis of it. I think if you have a good understanding of what we do and why we do it, you'll be more of an advocate, and you'll be more of a collaborator. You'll be more of a support, and understanding that this all works towards the betterment of our students.
Absolutely. So are there any bigger projects that you're working on that you're really proud of?
At the current moment, I'm still in the assessment phase, the observation phase. There are some things that I think will help elevate and enhance the student experience within my certain departments. I do have some things kind of outlined, but nothing currently. There are some initiatives that I would love to bring to GRCC that I think can help enhance the student experience. At the current moment, I'm just literally observing and assessing what's working, getting a good lay of the land, kind of seeing where the gaps lie and what can we do as from a administration standpoint, help fill some of those gaps to increase our retention, increase graduation, increase persistence.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So, personal question, what's something outside of work that you enjoy or that resets you?
I am a huge TV holic.
Okay.
I watch TV very regularly.
Yeah.
It is my escapism. I have probably every streaming service. Yeah, and I have a lot.
This is my secret, is that I will have a streaming service and then I'll cancel it for a month and then get another streaming.
There's nothing wrong with that. Just based off the TV shows you want to watch.
Exactly. What are some of your favorite shows of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, let's talk all time.
All time. All right. How much time do we have here? Okay, so because I typically have a list. My favorite, what I believe to be the best TV shows of all time that I've watched is The Wire.
Okay.
And Breaking Bad. Those are typically the first two shows I will always list. I always tell people there are no shows that I think are wrote better than those two shows. Yeah. And the reason why they are 1A and 1B, because they are very different in perspective and how they are wrote, but I think both of them are phenomenal.
Did you like Better Call Saul too?
Surprisingly, I have not seen that yet. That is on my list to watch. I've heard that for some, that is better than Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I just haven't been able to. I started season 1 when it first came out, but I wasn't able to complete it, which is, I think it's just the timing of where I was in life, but it is most definitely on my to-watch list.
That's great.
Yeah. And currently, my current list is of TV shows. Let's take it.
Well, it's different now, because I tell people this. I'm like, if you recommend a TV show to me, I might be able to watch it, but there's so many now. So many. It's not ABC, NBC, CBS anymore. Like when I was a kid. You gotta have the Hulu, the Netflix, all the different streaming services.
Currently, my favorite watches right now, Hulu has Paradise. I am purely captivated by that. Also on HBO, there's The Pitt.
Great show.
Both phenomenal shows, in my opinion. I sit down and watch them weekly. Sometimes I may shed a tear or two because they're just that good.
Yeah.
And so, like, I thoroughly enjoy watching TV. Additionally, outside of TV, some people know, some people here may know, this might be the first time they're hearing it, but I DJ on the side as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
I've been DJing probably since, this is probably year 19. Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So there's two, when I hear DJing, my brain goes to two different places. One's like a wedding DJ and one's with turntables. Where do you fall within?
I have my own turntables. I have all my own gear and things like that. So I've done weddings, I've done barbecues, I've done receptions, I've done banquets, I've done a whole gamut of different events.
Didn't PlayStation have?
Yes.
It was almost like Guitar Hero.
DJ Hero, and surprisingly, that was where I first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like literally. Oh, okay, I think I can do this. I remember it. It was a very difficult game, let me tell you. It was actually harder playing the game than DJing.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all for today.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to add about your position or things about you?
Well,
You're good?
I guess it depends on what you want to know. If you ask me, I will, whatever questions. I try to be an open book. I think from the perspective of Dean of Students and just being here at GRCC, I try to be approachable. Yeah. I try to be a good listener, be visible. But one thing that I will always try to remain is to be myself. Yeah. And I think that's
you seem very authentic and kind-hearted, and I very much, and I just met you, so
thank you.
That's very, I appreciate that.
Yes, and and thank you for that. But I always tell people it took a long time for me to get to this level of accepting myself for what I was given as in life, right? Yeah. And so, for me, being authentic that's the only way I know how to be, because it took me a long time to find myself, and I think it would be a disservice if I tried to be anybody else.
I think we end right there.